Okay, so this is going to be the first question. Today, the date is October 23rd. Okay, so question number one. So, question number one has three parts. We have A, B, and C. And basically, what I want you to do is just tell me what kind of forms they are, okay? And obviously, I'm going to give you three different options, right? How do you review for the test? Okay, guys, so there you go. Question number one is obviously a three-pointer because we have option A, B, and C. And all you have to do is right next to number A, you're just going to write, is it going to be standard form, vertex form, or factored form? So let's talk about this. Let's take a look at 1A. What kind of form is it, guys? Ready? Go. Okay, so obviously that would be the vertex form, right? So I would put vertex form right here. And then for B, I'm looking, and what kind of form is B? That is factored form, so I would put factored form over there. And what about for C? What is that? That would be standard form, so I'll go ahead and put that, okay? So that is what you're supposed to do, okay? Now let's go ahead and give you the format in case you don't know. The standard form looks like this, okay? Y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. Vertex form looks like this. And then factored form looks like this. Oops. I can use an H for here. Alright, so there you go. So we are done. Okay, so obviously this is just a three-pointer because it's just a pick and choose. So 1 point for this, 1 point for that, 1 point for this. So it's going to be out of 3 points. Okay, so question number two is going to be something I have noticed that when I was grading your test that if I give you a question like this, you didn't know if you were supposed to add or multiply. Okay, so what you did was you did work for both. You added and you multiplied, and then you were just praying that I would give you credit because one of them would be right. So I'm not going to do that. For this test, question number two, I'm just going to give you one item. You're either going to add or you're going to multiply, okay? So it becomes really important that you understand how to figure out if a question is an addition question or a multiplication problem. Okay, so if you cannot figure out the difference between the two, you cannot pass my class anyway. Okay, if you don't know if you're supposed to multiply or add, how can you say that you are ready for math 3? I cannot send you up there. The teacher's gonna get so mad at me for allowing you to actually pass my class. Okay, I will not let you pass. So this number 2 is a very important question that you have to know. Okay, so it's either going to be multiplication or addition. So tell me, which one is addition, the top question or the bottom?
The bottom.
Bottom, okay, so everybody has to know. A lot of people, and you think, really, Miss Choi, who doesn't know? But you know who you are. You put both of them, and you pray that I give you credit for one of them, right? That's not okay. If you see a plus in the middle, that means addition, right? So x plus x is 2x, and then 2 minus 3 is negative 1. So that's it, right? So if I give you an addition problem, this is just going to be out of 2 points. Out of 2 points. Okay? Now if I give you a multiplication problem which is going to look like this, then it's going to be different, right? So then if I give you a multiplication problem, you have to do the big box. You can use the distributive property if that is what you want to do, okay? So we have x plus 2. I really don't care about the method as long as you, in the end, get it correct, right? And then x minus 3. So there you go. X times x is x squared. Okay, I have a problem. So x times x is going to be x squared, and then x times 2 is 2x. X times negative 3 is negative 3x. Negative 3 times positive 2 is negative 6. Okay, so there you go. The thing we have to do is we have to group these two together because those are like terms, right? So there you go. I have x squared. I'm just copying this, right? And then I have negative 3x plus 2x, which gives me negative x. And then I'm just going to copy the -6. And the way I grade this is going to be the same no matter what. If you show me the work, it's going to be 2 points, whether it's the box method or the distributive method. I really don't care. If you show me the work, it's 2 points. And then it's going to be 1, 2, and 3 points for getting each of the numbers correct, okay? Including the symbol. So this is going to be a total of 5 points. So number 2, depending on what I decide to give you, I'm not going to say it's just going to be multiplication or addition because I know what you're going to do. You're going to watch this video and just follow the steps, and that's not okay, all right? So it could be out of 5 points or it could be out of 2 points, all right? Okay, so obviously you can tell that number 3 is either going to make or break you, right? So we need to focus on question number 3, all right? So then now let's look at the equation, okay? So the equation that I want to give you is for f of x equals 4x squared plus 16x plus 15. Okay? I'm going to give you 2 equations today. One for me to just solve with you, and then another one so that you can work on your own. So that way if you have questions, you can maybe come and ask me. Okay? So there you go. You have to look at this equation, the one in blue, okay? And then you have to do many things, right? You have to find the vertex form, find the factored form, how many x-intercepts are there, what is the y-intercept, what is the vertex, graph the equation and plot the x-intercepts, y-intercept, and the vertex, okay? So there's many things you have to do, okay? So let's just start with something very easy, okay? We're gonna start with the vertex form, okay? Which is A. So if you try and remember, don't forget that each section is going to be worth many points, okay? I could have actually just said question number 3 is find the vertex of this equation, and question number 4 is find the factor form, and question number 5 is how many x-intercepts and all that stuff. But what is the whole point of doing that? Nothing, right? Because we're only working with one equation. Okay, so I'm just going to give you that one equation and you should be able to convert this in many different ways, and that is what Math 2 is all about. Okay, so let's go ahead and find the vertex form. So the first thing I said yesterday that you have to do when you try and find the vertex form is you gotta pull out the 4, because what you have to do is you gotta make 4 very big complete squares, right? So then what we're gonna do is I'm going to first pull out the 4, okay? So there you go. I pull out the 4, and the reason why I pull out the 4 is because that is the number at the very front right here. This is called the leading coefficient, okay? So what we're doing right now is pulling out the leading coefficient. So when we pull it out, that means we're going to divide, okay? So 4x squared divided by 4 is x squared. 16x divided by 4 is plus 4x. And then we're just going to close our parentheses. Now what do we have left? We have plus 15 left, okay?
Why did you have the other form?
Hmm?
Why did you have the other form?
So 16 divided by 2.
Okay? So then, now what this is telling me is that I have to complete the square using what I have in here inside the parentheses, and that is very important. Okay? So all this is telling me right now is I'm going to make 4 big squares, and when I make the squares, I basically have one big x squared, right? And then I have 4 rectangles, and that's all I have. I'm not even thinking about the small squares right now because that's not how you make a big square, right? Okay, so let's think about this. The x squared was one big square. This was x and this was x, okay? Now we're looking at 4x, and that's 4 long rectangles, okay? So then we already know that we can only put 2 on the side here, and then we know that we can put 2 on the side here, right? So then now we already know using common sense that we need how many more little squares? We need 4 more, right? We need 4 more little squares right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So then, that's what I'm going to do, okay? Because that's what I already have. Look, this x squared means what? I have this square, the x squared square. The 4x means I have 1, 2, 3, 4 rectangles. And using those, I realized that I need 4 more little squares, right? So that's what I'm going to put, x squared plus 4x. And then in order for me to complete my square, I needed 4 more little squares. Okay? But now keep in mind, guys, I am not making only one big square. I'm making how many of them? I'm making 4 of them because look, I'm multiplying them by 4. So you see this big pink square? There's only one of them. And this question is asking me to make how many of them? 4 of them. So what did I randomly just add here? I randomly added the 4 little squares. Okay? But then, because I randomly added it, I gotta subtract the 4. But we gotta think about this, okay? Because when we subtracted the 4, we did not just subtract the 4, right? So you gotta remember that this 4 over here is this 4, but how many of these big pink boxes do we have to make? 4 of them. So I think I randomly added 4, but in reality, how many did I really add? I added 4 times 4, which is 16. So when I subtract the 4, okay, I have to remember to multiply it by 4 because I actually randomly added 4 groups of 4. Okay? I gave you 4 candies by mistake, and I know I'm going to get in trouble with your mom because your mom said no candies for you because you got braces and all that stuff, right? So I have to quickly take it away from you. Okay? That's what I'm doing. So then why did you randomly add the numbers if you're going to take it away anyway? Because I had to go ahead and make this big pink square. That's the reason why. Okay? You never just do something for no reason, right? Okay, so now let's go ahead and simplify. So here's my 4. And let's try and remember, what did we just do inside the parentheses, guys? We created this big square. So we need to simplify. Okay? So the way we simplify is very simple. You got to come up with the equation. This is x here, and so how many more did we put here? 2 more, right? Okay, so it's going to be x plus 2, and then you got to square it because that's how you find the area of this big square. X plus 2 times x plus 2. Okay? And then now we're going to simplify the back part, and this is where a lot of you got it wrong, right? So there you go. That's negative 16 plus 15. And so now you have 4 times x plus 2 squared and then minus 1. And here's your vertex form. Now when you write your answer, obviously, you're not going to just leave it like this, right? Because then it's just showing work. It's not telling me what your answer is. So I want you to write your answer like this. The vertex form is the answer for A, so f of x is equal to 4 times x plus 2 squared minus 1. And that would be your answer. I don't want to tell you how I'm going to score because last time I told you how I'm going to score. This is what a lot of my students did. Instead of actually doing the work, you guys were watching my videos. Well, not in this class, but in my other classes, they were watching the videos. And then what they did was they just wrote the numbers from my video. Okay, so they still showed work, so they got credit, but all they did was actually copy my video. And that is not okay, right? All right, so I'm not going to tell you the point, so that way you won't feel like you have to copy every single step. Instead, you would do your own work, right? So I want you to use the videos so it would remind you, right? Doesn't mean you're just going to do nothing and then watch the video on the day of the test and try and complete it that way, right? So we're back at the question. We just did part A. In order for you to do part B, it says what? Find the factored form. Wow, that's actually the easy part, okay? You're supposed to make a rectangle. So let's move on to part B. So here you go. You need to find the factored form. Okay? And so let me rewrite the equation. Okay, so there you go. I wrote down the equation again. Okay? Factored form. And so what I'm doing right now is going from standard form to factored form. Okay? And so for those of you who remember the work, all you had to do was first draw the big X. And then you had to do the fraction bar. And then you will get your answer, which is going to be in parentheses, right? It was a very simple process for the factored form. So let's go ahead and work it out, okay? So what number goes on top? We have 4 times 15, right? And that number goes on top. The AC unit goes on top of the building, and so AC is 4 times 15. 4 times 15 happens to be 60. So if you think you're going to get the multiplication part wrong, there is no shame in using a calculator because I cannot promise you that my numbers are going to be small. Okay? Yes. So in order for us to find the factor form, you always have to multiply the A, okay, which is the leading coefficient, and the C, which is the constant, and that gives you a 60, and that's what you put over here, right? Okay, so now what do you put at the bottom?
16.
Yeah, the 16, which is the B, okay? So I'm going to put the 16 at the bottom. So now we're looking for two numbers. We're looking for two numbers over here and here. When we multiply these two, we should be able to get 60. When we add these two, we should be able to get 16. So I said we're going to go ahead and use the the factor tree. So 60 is the same as 1 times 60, and we know that's not going to make 16, right? 2 times 30 is not going to do it. 3 times 20 is not going to do it. 4 times 15, is that going to do it? What do you think?
No.
Nah. What about 5 times 12? Is that going to do it?
Yeah.
No. What about 6 times 10? Is that going to do it?
Yeah.
Oh, yay. It is going to do it because 6 plus 10 is 16, right? Okay, so I'm going to put 6 and 10 over here. Do I have to mess around with the symbols?
No.
No, not really, because everything is positive. 6 times 10 is 60, and 6 plus 10 is 16. It might help you if you put a circle around here, because I saw that a lot of you know how to do this, but you put down the wrong numbers, okay? So then now let's move on to the next step, okay? So what you gotta do is you gotta put numbers on top over here. Which number am I going to put here?
6 and 10.
The 4, which is the leading coefficient A, okay? So good job, thank you. I'm going to put 4 on top. So what numbers am I going to put at the bottom?
6 and 10.
6 and 10. Those are my two answers that I got. Maybe I should put that in pink, okay? So it would help you. So then now I'm looking at the two fractions. Can I simplify this?
Yeah.
Yes, I can, right? So I'm going to go ahead and divide the top and the bottom by 2. Okay? And so that's going to give me 2 over 3. I'm going to do the same thing here. Divide the top and the bottom by 2, because I can, right? That's going to give me 2 over 5. So now let's look. What letter am I playing with over here? What letter? The X's. So I'm going to go ahead and put the X's on top. Okay? So then I'm just going to copy that. So it's 2x plus 3. And then 2x plus 5. And gosh, I am done with my factored form. Okay? However, I'm not just going to leave it like this, right? I got to make sure I do it the correct way. So my answer is going to be f of x is equal to 2x plus 3 times 2x plus 5. Okay? So there you go. Let's go back and look at the question because we just got done with part B. And wow, that was intense, wasn't it? Okay, so now part C says, obviously you get number 3 wrong, we're in all kinds of trouble. How many x-intercepts are there? Oh, wow. How many x-intercepts are there? Okay, so then I want you to go back down to the question. Finding the x-intercept is very easy if you look at your factored form. Okay, so here is C, and it says how many x-intercepts. Another way of looking at this question is asking how many answers are there? Okay, how many solutions? Okay, and also how many roots. Even if I used words like solutions or roots instead of x-intercept on the test, you should still understand it as the same thing. Okay? So, let's take a look. If you look at the answer, you have f of x is equal to 2x plus 3 and 2x plus 5, right? So if I were to say, what is the definition of an x-intercept, guys? What is the definition? Huh? What? What? Yeah, x-intercept also means the answer, but in mathematical terms, when you are looking for an x-intercept, what do you have to do? You have to set something else equal to 0 in order to find the x-intercept. Okay, does anybody know what x-intercepts mean? Okay, so for those of you who don't understand, an x-intercept means what? The point where the graph is touching the x-axis, right? Okay, so if we have an equation, and we have an equation right here, right? How would we find our x-intercepts? We find our x-intercepts by factoring our equation, okay? And then what did you see? By definition, to find the x-intercept, you have to set y is equal to 0. Because if we have a graph like this, right, in order for me to find out what point this is in and that is in, if I want to find these 2 points, what do I have to do? I want to find the x value, so I have to say when y is equal to 0, what are my x values, right? Okay, so what that means is I'm going to say this f of x over here is equal to 0, and now I'm going to solve this, okay? And that means I'm going to have one answer here and one answer there. Okay? In other words, when I draw my graph, I'm going to have how many x-intercepts? 2 x-intercepts. And you cannot get the answer for C unless you solve B. Right? Okay. So my answer, I will have 2 x-intercepts. Well, how did you know that you have 2 x-intercepts? Because you looked at your factored form and you saw that there will be one answer and 2 answers, 2 values of x when y is equal to 0. That is why we need the factored form. Okay? Because that shows you how many x-intercepts you can have. Okay? Another way to do this is obviously to just draw the equation, okay, using Desmos calculator, and then you'll see how many times the graph passes through the x line. Okay? So now let's move on to part D. So if you look at part D, it asks you, what is the y-intercept, right? And this is a very easy one-pointer, okay? What is the y-intercept? All you have to do is, remember this is the equation? All you have to do is look at this number over here, the constant that is by itself. And that is going to be the y-intercept, because by definition, what does it mean mathematically when they're asking for the y-intercept? What does the y-intercept mean, guys? So the y-intercept is the point where the graph touches the y line, right? Okay, so I'm going to go down to D. And now we're looking for the y-intercept. Okay, so by definition, y-intercept means what? When you have a graph that looks like this, right? We had 2 x-intercepts, and then in this equation, how many y-intercepts do we have? 1, right? Because y-intercept means where is the graph touching the y-axis? This is the y-axis, okay? So mathematically, if you want to find the y-axis, you got to say what? X is equal to 0. When x is equal to 0, what is my y value? Okay? That's why the answer becomes so easy, because if you look at the equation again, and I think I should just write the equation down here again because I hate going back and forth. So if you take a look over here, okay, we're looking for the y value when x is equal to 0. Okay, so if you plug in 0 into the x and 0 into the x, 0 squared is 0 times 4 is 0. 0 times 16 is 0, right? So 0 plus 15 is what? 15, all right? So your answer is going to be the y-intercept is 15. Okay, and I haven't yet decided if I'm going to make part D just a 1-pointer or like a 3-pointer for showing work and whatnot, okay? So again, it's all up to you. Now let's go back to part E. Okay, as you can see, it's not that difficult. It's just part A and B that's a little bit confusing, right? Okay, so part E says, what is the vertex? Part E is right here. What is the vertex? Okay, so again, what is the vertex? And again, question number E cannot be solved if, number one, you don't have a graphing calculator, because you can actually do it, right? Use Desmos, just graph it, and then you figure out what the vertex is, and bam, you're done. That's an easy 1-pointer I told you, right? Or another one is if you answered part A, because what is the purpose of the vertex form? To find the vertex. So if you look at the answer for A, your vertex form is what? This one right here, right? So looking at this, I taught it to you yesterday. What is my vertex looking at this equation? Good job. No, almost. -2 and what? Yeah, -2, comma, -1. I told you gotta switch the symbol for the x because the vertex form is what? A times x minus h, right? So your answer is going to be -2, comma, -1. So of course I want you to write your answer like this. Just like that. And again, I haven't decided how I'm going to give you points on this one because there's so many ways for you to get the answer. Even if you cannot get the answer for A, even if you cannot find the vertex form, you can still use Desmos and graph it. And then if you just look at the graph, you'll be able to find the vertex, right? And so either way, even if you get A wrong, you can still get points for E. I would not ever try and stump you, okay? Even if you don't get the answer for B, you would still be able to get the answer for C because you could use your Desmos calculator, okay? I don't want you to ever think that because you can't do A, you cannot do the rest of them. Because you cannot do B, you cannot do the rest of them. No, that is not how I taught you. I taught you that there are many different ways to get to the answer, okay? All right. Now let's move on to F. So, if you look at F, and that is the very last part of our question, yay. Okay, it says graph the equation and plot the x-intercept. Please make sure you follow directions, okay? It says graph, and then it says what? Plot the. Plot the means you gotta tell me where it is, okay? The x-intercepts, the y-intercept, and the vertex. And all of this you already answered in part C, D, E. Right?
Yeah.
So you should, by the time you go to part F, you should have the answer for everything. Okay? So then you might be asking me, Ms. Choi, which equation am I supposed to plug in? I have an answer in A, I have an answer in B, and I also have this equation right here. Well, no matter what you decide to plug in, they should look exactly the same because all three equations are in different form, but it's still the exact same graph. The reason why we're learning to do all these stuff is because it's easier for us to find, for example, if we convert it to the vertex form, it's easy for us to find the vertex. If we convert it into factored form, it's easy for us to find the x-intercepts. Okay? If we have the standard form, it's easy for us to find the y-intercept. Okay? There's a reason why there are three different forms for the exact same equation. Right now, I'm giving you the answer for your essay question. Okay? So please pay attention, and this is going to be on Monday with your sub. Okay? So, now I'm going down. And obviously, if you don't know the answer for A through E, that's okay. You should still get credit with F by using what? Desmos. And all you have to do is plug it in. If you still don't know how to use the Desmos calculator, this is not something that I could help you with tomorrow during the test. That is part of your skill. It's like me giving you the answer. You study and learn how to use Desmos calculator today at home. Go online, because in Haiku, I recorded it. Okay? You should be able to have access to it. Don't ask me, where's the video? This is already week 12. You should know where all my videos are. I've been telling you over and over again when you are not paying attention. So blame yourself if you can't find it, okay? All right, so now let's keep going. And now I'm just showing you how to graph if you did not have a calculator, right? For all you college-going folks. All right. So then, obviously, our vertex is at -2, -1. And we got that from our vertex form. So we're going to find that. So there you go. We have -2 over here, and then we have -1 over here. So that is my vertex. I'm going to put that right there. All right? And then now, my y-intercept, if you look over here, what does it say over here? The answer for D. The y-intercept is what? 15, right? So I'm going to find my 15, and I obviously cannot because I have to go up really, really high. So I'm just going to pretend that, oh gosh, I did a very bad job. Let's say that this is 15, okay? Let's say that this is 15. So that is my y-intercept, okay? Maybe, should I just erase and do it again with the graph?
No.
Are we good? Okay, just keep going. Okay, so that is my y-intercept, and there's my vertex, okay? And what I want to do right now is I want to find my x-intercepts. I know that I have 2 x-intercepts because I already answered this part, okay? But if I look over here, this is how I'm going to actually find what my x-intercepts are. I have to say 2x plus 3 is equal to 0, which is going to be -1.5. And I have to say 2x plus 5 is equal to 0, which is going to be -2.5. Okay? And so if you don't know how to do this, it's okay for now, because that's going to be in chapter 3. Okay? But just know that you can do it. Okay? So you don't have to worry because you can just put it on Desmos, okay? But I'm just telling you that my 2 x-intercepts are -1.5 and -2.5. So I'm going to find -1.5, which is going to be like right here, and -2.5, which is going to be like right here. Oh my goodness, okay? So those are my 2 x-intercepts. So now let me graph. I'm going to go like this. It's going to be a very, very skinny parabola. Right? I have to pass the 16, remember that, okay? Because that is my y-intercept, okay? So here is my ugly parabola, okay? However, this is what you have to do. And I told you to plot the y-intercept, so please make sure you have the 15 here with the dot. And then I want you to write over here y-intercept. And then I want you to put the points over here, -2, -1, and then label it vertex, okay? And then I want you to give me this number. On Desmos, if you just click on it, it will give you the number, okay? So that's going to be -1.5, 0, okay? And then this is going to be -2.5, 0, okay? And this will be your x-intercepts. I want you to label it, okay? Because that is what the question said. It said graph, and then plot what? The vertex, the x-intercepts, and the y-intercept. So when you are done with all these parts, you are done. Okay? And now you are done with the test, except for the very last question, number 4, which I gave you the answer for today as I was showing you how to do all of this, if you are listening. Okay? And so, question number 4, I'll give it to you online, on Haiku, on Monday. You're going to work on it with your sub. You're going to write an essay in Haiku, and then you're going to submit it to me.
You do real quick?
Okay? And that's going to be worth about, I don't know.
30 points.
I would say anywhere in between, I haven't decided yet, anywhere in between 5 to 10 points. Okay? All right.
1 million.
So then, of course, I'm not going to leave you like this. I'm going to go ahead and give you a question so you can practice at home tonight. So you know how well or how not so well you're going to do on the test. Okay? And first period. I'm not worried about fourth or fifth period because most of them are passing. I only worry about first period, okay? I really need you guys to put some effort into passing. Okay? So I'm going to give you another equation for question number 3 that you can go home and practice. Okay? And guys, your Khan Academy, okay, let me pause this because Khan Academy is not related to this.